how do you do it? We want to get into a position where we're in like a squatting position, sort of like this, right? And when you squat, you take your hips, the first motion is you take your hips back, right? And you try to sit backwards and drive through your heels, right? But once you get into this squatting position, if you draw this line right here, I'm about 45 degrees right now. The motion is like stealing a base. You want to have a rotation like this, and you want to have a linear drive like this combined. So this piece rotates slightly, and then as it continues to rotate, it drives forward. So that's that extra little that's the last path directing everything towards the plate. Okay. So in fast motion, it would look something like that. Right. Now, if you do that motion, your arms are spread out up here. When I do it, I get that separation. And that's where you get the transfer of things in the lower half, transferring up to the upper half. So you get a little, if your legs up here, you just get a little drift. When you squat down, it's going to start working. And then you kick your leg out, and then you get that tone flow because your leg is spinning. So you take your hands out like this, take your butt back. Right? So, now see how I get in that position on my back leg? I have some energy right here. I can feel it in my glute, I can feel it in my back leg. Now I can actually take this and drive myself forward. So when I lift up, I get a little bit of a drift going, right? And then you can see how much I'm sitting down, right? And this angle on the back leg.
Okay.
There's a lot of energy stored there. Whereas I think if we see you, your back leg would be a lot straighter.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I have this energy stored here, and now when I drive energy back into my back, when I drive myself to the plate, I'm going to be able to release all that stored energy there.
Right.
My upper body is in a position where it can connect. So when I release that, everything just spirals up the chain. I have video of myself. So you can see I'm not moving much. But right there, I start moving forward.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just a little drift. It's not drastic. Then, as I start coming down, I get into that squatted position there.
Right.
Right? Now, I'm at about 45 degrees, close, right? Between the 40 and 50 degree mark. Now you can see this back side starts to rotate, and that's what drives me to the plate. When this back side starts to rotate here, you can see that extra little drive I have going towards the plate. And at landing, my hips are facing kind of out this direction. They're not directly towards the plate, but my upper body is facing this direction. Right? And that's where you get that separation. I have this linkage here from the lower half is pretty much done rotating. I have one frame afterwards, which it rotates. That frame there, before it starts kicking up over the hip. But I have, this is pretty much done. The lower half is pretty much done. The upper half hasn't really done much yet. It's just stayed sideways.
Right.
So right now what's working is just the energy is being transferred straight up through the midsection. And I'm able, because of the position I put myself in the lower half, the amount of force I generated in the rotation, this is having to separate because my upper half with my arms out doesn't rotate nearly as much as my hips. My hips are a lot smaller profile. Right? Get into a position like this, about this high, and you get to about like this, right? I can rotate pretty fast, right? But I'm using the muscles kind of in my hips and everything to rotate. So I'm just trying to rotate based on this motion here. I'm not getting any really drive out of the bottom part. But when I get down into this position, I can really rotate fast and drive myself. Right? And I get that extension on the back side to drive myself forward. And that's a very explosive movement because I'm using bigger muscle groups in my body. So if I'm going through a delivery and I get to this position here, and I go to rotate, I'm using from about here up to generate velocity. If I get into this position when I'm pitching, I'm using my calf, and I'm using everything to drive myself forward, and I can just...
And it's hard for him to show that position statically.
night, it's hard to get in that position static. See how much that's flexed? Okay. So
Creating and redirecting force is that's what athleticism is to me. And the way you create, to be most efficient at that, you have to pass through certain positions. The body works in 45 degrees and 90 degrees. So you want to pass through as many of those points as possible. That's why this angle, this 45-degree angle is important. That's why doing this at 90 degrees is important up here, because that's allowing the body to pass through positions where it works naturally. So just trying to become more athletic is learn how to create and redirect forces, and it takes a while to figure out how your body does it best.
So everything's at 45s and 90s.
So we go 45 degrees back behind us, right? Because we don't want to just move this way. So if the band is right behind us, we want to just move linearly. We don't want to just rotate, so the band is back there and we just get into this rotation. We want to bind it to this, so we can split the difference. We get into like a squat position here, and now scoot back a little bit. From here, we're trying to get this thing to rotate first, right? This starts the rotation. Then we're trying to drive this thing forward and go towards the plate. So in fast motion, it's really hard to show in slow motion. The best I can do would be kind of like this here, and drive towards the plate. We go like this, and get into a position you can do kind of just drive forward. And you're really trying to be explosive and drive yourself as far that way as you possibly can and stay as low as you possibly can when you're driving. So we don't want to drive up like this. We want to stay low and drive that way. And you can drive and get this look. You're going to feel it in your core because this isn't rotating as fast as your hips are. So we'll hook this up to like a bar. We'll hook up one of the bars. And we'll do like 10 of them in a row. Just training motion. Once I get to this position, how do I release it? And then we'll take it off and we'll go put a connection ball in. And we'll do a blend where we do this drill. We throw a baseball with it, no band, on us. So we'll get into a position here. We'll replicate it. We'll have a baseball in our hand. We'll do the motion of action throw. So we'll blend that in, and then we'll go into an action delivery and try to pass through that position and transfer it over. So right here, what I was doing is I'd go through the drill. This is right after I'd done the band work. Okay. I'd get down into this position. There's my boxy look. I can see I'm starting to rotate it and drive myself forward. Right? So there's my landing. My hips are facing kind of out this way, my upper body's facing this way. Yep. And now I connect up and rotate around a stable front side, and all the energy transfers up through the hand. Right. Now here in the delivery, I don't get nearly as low, but you can see the similarities between this position and my starting position on the drill. Right. So I've managed to get into a comparable position. So now, because I train it, my body knows what to do from this position. So you'll see right about now, my knee starts driving me forward, and you get that same rotation as you do in the drill. So there's my weight-bearing foot plant. And now my hips are facing out this way. Again, my shoulders are kind of facing that way.
When he's doing this drill, is that he goes, and what that does is, as this going out here, which goes, that delays this even more, this upper body rotation, as I expand here, it delays that and allows that even more, and it puts even more of a stretch, right? So if you just kind of go like this versus you kind of go like that, so now we get kind of a loading back in here as well, so that's what you want. So it's boxy, bend, expand,